Welcome back to Outside the Round Pen. This is episode 8. It's the finale of season 2. And thank you so much for tuning in to all of these episodes and all of Josie's story. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video. Make sure you're subscribed. This is a very exciting episode. This is the conclusion of Josie's story and our episodes with her. And I am so excited to share that with you. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Welcome to Outside the Round Pen, where we step beyond the basics of training and into the deeper lessons horses teach us about faith, leadership, and partnership with Jesus. What if real strength isn't loud, but is quiet? It's not reactive, but it's responsive. In this final chapter with Josie, we're not correcting, we're cultivating all of the things that we've worked on, and it's all going to culminate here. This is where meekness, that we talked about in the first episode of this season, comes and shifts from a concept to a character, because she finally gets to be a perfect example, maybe not perfect. She gets to be an example of what meekness looks like, and that's power under control. Meekness isn't passivity, it's precision. It's power that's so secure in its creator and its leader that it doesn't have to shout and scream and say that it's big and bold and strong. It's just content being in relationship, like what we talked about last week. It's content with its foundation and its leader. And with Josie, I personally, but I hope you have seen that for majority of the season, or seasons, all these episodes, less pressure for her often leads to more responsiveness. And if you don't quite know what I mean by that, she responds incredibly well to those non-demand moments, to the opportunities for her to deeply process something without pressure to rush to a conclusion. It's these moments where she can choose to allow her emotions to be quiet for long enough to recognize that all I was asking was for her to demonstrate relationship with me and give it a try. And I honored that try. She's finally gotten to the point where she's not just following all these clues like breadcrumbs and hoping that she kind of gets a correct conclusion, but she's actually attuned and connected to me and ready for the adventure. And that's such a dramatic shift, because it's all of that power, it's all of that opinion, it's all of that emotion harnessed and under control and submitted to my lead, and actually not even just an unwilling partner, but an excited participant in the opportunity that I'm going to present her with without her knowing what we're going to do. So where we left off, I kind of left you on a cliffhanger with our last episode as far as the clips go. I got on her, but you don't know what happened next, because we didn't just get on. These next few steps for her are probably the biggest steps that she has taken in the entire journey that we've gone on now. And she is doing it excitedly and with anticipation that there's going to be something good. And this is just watch. I'll just let you watch. So she's so excited because this is such a new thing that she's ready for food, and she doesn't even really know what exactly I'm asking, but she is outside the round pen. She is carrying me outside the round pen. And I just want to just pause and watch for a second. She's having a conversation with me, and I don't mind that. But she is so excited. I don't know if you see her speeding up. Most horses, I'll just share this right now. Most horses, when they are invited into a scary or new environment, doing something they haven't before or haven't in a long time, or it was not a healthy situation, like, they don't run or try to excitedly move faster towards the thing that scares them. That is not in their nature. They will not do that unless they are confident and curious about what's happening. So all this excitement, all of these little bit jittery, she's not super smooth on it. That's fine. This is a first for her and me. And there's a lot of conversation on it, but that's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. she's excited to be out. She's excited to have a conversation about this. She's excited to be doing something new with me. And man, is she a pretty horse. And I just want you to see, I'm letting her eat. I know some people might not be happy about that, but all I wanted to do was just see how she would handle being outside of the environment that she's known. And if she'd be able to be relaxed enough to carry me calmly. She far surpassed my expectation to the point that I wanted to reward her, and she's just in a rope halter. There is nothing, no bit and bridle on restricting her mouth. All she's doing is responding to my cues, my body language, the areas of pressure that we've been working on. There's no emergency braking system, if you will. She's trusting me and I'm trusting her. And I want her to enjoy this moment. And so I'm letting her eat. I'm letting her graze because she loves food. Most horses do. And she's so happy to be exploring, and she doesn't bother that I'm along for the ride. Matthew 5:5, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. And Philippians 5:4, let your gentleness be evident to all, because the Lord is near. She is so excited about this, right? There's a lot of emotion on it. There's a lot of all these things, but she is completely surrendered, and all of her power is wrapped up and, neatly stored away, and she's letting herself carry me, right? And again, what's the definition of meekness? It's power under control, and it's the image of a war horse, a horse carrying leadership into a very scary and counterintuitive, different place at ease. They're ready. All of that authority, all of that raw power is ready to carry this person into battle. And you have to be pretty calm. There's emotions, but you have to be pretty calm and pretty safe and secure in your foundation and relationship with that rider to be able to do that. And she is perfectly demonstrating just how beautiful it looks. You can be excited about something. You can still have emotion. It cannot look polished and perfect, but you can still harness all of your opinion, all of your desire, all of these things, and wrap it up and submit it to the Lord and let him carry him into every situation that you're going into. And then you can offer him ideas and say, here's my thoughts on this. And he might, acknowledge it, or he might say, nope, let's keep going steady. Just keep following me. And that conversation is welcome because it's a healthy dynamic. When a horse is in balance, it doesn't resist, it flows. And so you're able to just move with the Lord and the Spirit when he's leading you and guiding you through situations. And it's no longer scary or something you have to be anxious about, because it's literally an adventure with the Lord, with your leader, with your trainer, with the person that knows what's best for you inside and out and has a future for you. And the same is true for us. Like the same thing that Josie is looking at and operating in, and the choices that she's being faced with, the same is true for us. We get to face and interact with the world and with life and with training and testing and wearing uncomfortable clothing and having to show up and be a certain personality in a certain situation because that's what the job calls for. All of those things are areas where she's been doing that, but we're often tempted to force outcomes or prove our strength in certain areas, or even try and defend ourselves if someone's said something wrong or incorrect about us. But God's way is different. Sorry, God's way is different. He teaches us restraint and timing and grace. And I'm letting her walk in the very same path she's taken so many times with me next to her on the ground. But now I'm on her back. I'm on her back. She is carrying me. And so there's a level of independence that she has on offer. She could take off if she wanted to, and there would be very little I could do to stop her. I'd probably have to bail. But she's choosing not to. She's choosing to be partnered with me fully in that moment. With Josie, the lightest asks often brought the deepest yields, the greatest rewards, if you will. Because trust isn't built through power, it's built through peace. And so horses learn, and I probably talked about this in season 1, but I'm bringing it back. Horses learn through a release, the release of pressure, so much quicker and much more long lasting than when you punish. Just let that sink in. The release teaches more powerfully than punishment does, than shame does. I wonder why we know that. I mean, Proverbs talks about it. It's Proverbs 25:15. Through patience, a ruler can be persuaded and a gentle tongue can break a bone. Now, that's a little bit of a strange reference, but the point is when we are willing to let the Lord teach us through the quiet moments, not the crisis moments, we're going to learn so much greater and have longer lasting results. And even when we talk or interact with people around us, when we're training or working with kids or anything like that, there is so much more power in allowing love and patience to override and teach and enable someone to grow than when we try to shame them into change, because that was the fruit of the law. And Jesus came to set us free from that. Not to be free from operating in righteousness and having just basic morals, right? Those are tons of guidelines that way. But he set us free from the shame of the law, which was the fruit. The fruit of the law is death, right? That's ultimately what you are sowing when you are trying to teach someone by producing shame or ridiculing them or pointing out all of the areas that they failed. But they tried. We as leaders, we get to choose what we're going to focus on. And the Lord is so good at that. He honors our try. And we learn more when he does that than when someone beats our head and beats something over our head and says that you failed this way, you failed this way. Because are you going to want to try that thing again? No, you're not. Because the shame, the weight of that shame produces death in that area. It doesn't produce creativity. It doesn't give you a drive to try something or do it better or rise to the occasion or get excited about a challenge that you might not have done perfectly. Shame does not produce life. And here's the beauty of it. Josie doesn't need the round pen anymore because she was willing to rely on our foundation, and she responded to those moments where I took pressure off and she could learn from the love and opportunity to grow in that moment. And I didn't shame her for not getting it right on the first try. I just honored her tries. She doesn't need walls to guide her. She is now in a position where she is able to rely on her relationship, and that can be enough. Her trust in me, in her rider, she is carrying us outside the round pen, not because she's being forced to obey, but because she wants to partner. She's having a conversation. That's what partnership means. It doesn't mean that I'm ruling over her. It means that we are partnered. We are a team together. So all that being said, this is a monumental moment. This is where she can release all the stress, all the anxiety, all the anticipation or the concerns or anything that was uncomfortable about that. She can decompress from the massive step that she just took and release it. Because that's the other thing too, is giving yourself time to process is critical. You might have accomplished something and done an amazing thing. If you don't give yourself the ability to debrief with the Lord or with a faithful friend or both, preferably both, then you're not going to be able to function until you do, or you're going to stuff it down and then you're not going to be able to acknowledge just how big of a deal that was. And it's okay to recognize and acknowledge and celebrate wins, no matter how big and no matter how small. That's what I'm giving her in this opportunity. And now I'm right back to the same place I was at the beginning of this session, loving on her, rubbing her down, releasing her from all of these things. And I want you to watch this too. Like, she's standing completely content. I'm releasing her of the saddle. I'm taking the pressure off, and she is practically falling asleep. She's already released all of her big blows, and her excitement is just back down to peace right now, and she is not tied. There is nothing holding her in this moment to stay still or stay by my side except for relationship. That's it. That's the only reason. She knows that she's content, that she's safe, that there's no other real need for her to be doing or trying to function in any other way except for being with me right there because I haven't asked her to do more. That's simple enough. There are moments where the Lord is simply just asking you to be with him, not to do anything, not to be a Martha. There are times to be a Martha. There are times to be working and to be diligent and do everything with excellence. Always, always, always. But sometimes you need to excellently just be with him and let him love on you. And trust me, I am preaching to the choir right now because I'm not very good at that. I need to learn. I'm growing actively in learning how to receive this. But this is a perfect example of what it can look like. Is all of that emotion, all of that massive deal. It was such a huge deal. It was such a huge deal. And it took a split second and she was just like, oh, okay. We're going to be right now. And I aspire to be that level of confident in my leader to know that I don't have to overfunction. Anyways, enough about me. That's the fruit of meekness. All of that being said, that's the fruit of meekness. It's not just safety, but it's freedom. It's not just control, but it's connection. It comes back to that relationship thing we talked about last episode. In closing, Josie's story ends not here, but with a new forever home. I don't have video footage of it. I'm sorry. But it's not because she was perfect. It was because she was willing to trust me in this process that it literally opened up a door for her to be able to have to fulfill a dream for a family who has other horses. She's in an environment where she's thriving. She's getting to be loved on by multiple kids and be a blessing to multiple families. Her purpose just was blown out of the water because she was willing to partner with some complete stranger at the beginning of season 1. And all of that led to, that fear. All of that fear led to her having a level of freedom she could have never even dreamed of. That's the heartbeat of 8th Mountain. We are stepping into our 10th year, and the whole point of what we do is not confined to this ministry. It's not confined to the walls of our round pen, of our arenas, of our horses, of our staff, of our volunteers, of our ranch property. It's not even confined to the name. All that we are doing is scripture. It's because God, everything he does, what he begins in meekness, he finishes in strength. He gives all of this overflow. And the way that we operate here it's just a reflection of who he is. And you can do the same. Everywhere that you go in your sphere of influence, you are capable of doing the exact same thing that I'm doing here with the way that the Lord designed you to do it. It might not have anything to do with horses, but it has everything to do with the fact that you, as a believer, as a son or daughter of the King, of the Most High, have the power within you to be able to operate the same way and lead people in growing in the relationship with God, that he's a good father, and training them just like I trained Josie. All that being said, thank you so much for watching Josie's story, for being a part of our family, and I'm just going to close it out with this. Thank you so much. Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up in you. Do you not perceive it? Thank you for watching. Please consider supporting our ministry, whether by giving or sharing this message with someone who needs it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next.